Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have an excellent game to share with you from the 2025 Grand Chess Tour Finals. This was played just today, October 3rd, on the white end, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, playing against Fabiano Caruana. Alright, time controls for this rapid game, 25 minutes each, 10-second increment. We're looking at an open Sicilian. Next up, it's e5. That signals the Kalashnikov variation. If knight f6, knight c3, and then e5, that's the Sveshnikov. All right, we start out with the Kalashnikov, but eventually transpose just a few more moves into a Sveshnikov. So here we are. We now see bishop captures knight. The response here is pawn captures bishop, taking on doubled f pawns. This is the best way to recapture. If you recapture with a queen, trying to keep the structure as is, you are asking to play an imbalance where white has a rook and two passed pawns versus your two bishops. Let me show you what this looks like. Very forcing line. There is a piece sacrifice available on b5. In this quick coordination on c7, it points out check c3 and rook a7 is best, covering this square, giving the rook up. The knight here would be poisoned due to the fork. So this is the imbalance I was just speaking about earlier. All right, Caruana recaptures on f6 in the best way, with the pawn. Knight d5, black undoubling the pawns, challenging white center, bishop d3, bishop e6, castles, bishop g7, and queen d2. Now, I'm not sure why queen d2 was played. Computer doesn't like this approach. After queen d2, it starts to prefer black already. The most natural looking move here for white, queen h5, if you're going to move the queen, most natural looking squares, h5. This also happens to be best. A lot of good reasons to assign for the queen post on h5, very active. Nice offensive piece, nice defensive piece in a way. With the queen on h5, she doesn't allow the queen to maybe fly out in this direction at some stage, has a responsibility for the moment. All right, can't quite place my finger on this one, why queen d2 was played. Castles, follow up c3, king h8, very healthy, half open file, maybe something exciting happens on the g file. Knight c2, getting back into the game. Pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn. Pop quiz. How would you respond here? This is an important middle game moment. Feel free to pause the video. Okay, Caruana continues here with f5. And it's not a losing move, but we're going to see that black will soon have to be very precise. And he doesn't quite follow up in the precise way. A top move here is rook c8. Some security for this vulnerable knight. It is unprotected. Okay, were any of you here tempted by f5? That is the move played in the game. Another pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, here we go. Top move, knight f4. Unleashing the bishop, targeting the bishop. Now what? Black's plays with bishop d7. If you capture the bishop, knight captures bishop, you're there with the fork. If pawn captures knight, bishop captures knight, this is a tremendous piece. No worries of some disruptive f3, you have that square covered. This would not be a good idea to capture the knight. We have bishop d7 in this game. Bishop captures knight, bishop captures bishop, and the fork has arrived. Another pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, black blunders here, plants the queen on f6, counterpunch. The top move is queen h4. Knight captures rook. How would you respond here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, there's only one move that keeps this level. Bishop captures g2, the big 2-point pawn being swiped, with the idea, meet king captures bishop with queen g4 to f3, perpetual check. I tested out a few other moves here. I wondered if you save the rook, is that any good? It's not. The bishop is saved, and now you're staring at this idea. White is lost. I also had a look at maybe not capturing the bishop and rescuing the knight. If you move the bishop to f3 here, there's a queen g5 as a resource. It calls that a draw. The queen is there in time to cover all the key kingside squares. What would be a strong move in response to knight e6 is rook g8. This is getting very dangerous now for white. This here would now be a losing attempt. Queen g5. Really special line coming up here that I'm putting on. We're going to see the power of the two bishops very soon. The winning path with such a line is with bishop f6, a queen exchange, and now what do you do about the bishop backing off with checkmate nearby? You'd have to move the rook. This knight ends up falling. There's a discovered check there, and if rook captures d6, check out these bishops knifing in. Check. Rook check. Don't take the rook just yet. It's covered. Insert another check. Crushing position. Now, the knight would have to block, and then you collect the rook and you win, being up the piece. All right. Black does not find the best queen move, and it ends up costing him. He plays here. Queen f6. Knight captures rook. Bishop h6. Goes into a pin. Black has to take some time out to eventually collect the knight. Now is that time. Rook a to d1. Pressure on d6. Gotta defend it somehow. Rook d8. Kind of sad, but necessary. How do you get out of the pin? Move the knight. You're on the queen. Bishop takes queen, knight takes queen. You welcome a queen exchange, being up the exchange here. Follow up. Queen e6, and now f4. Queen doesn't have to budge. Perfect move. Stable post. Majors, securing the knight. Bishop, cut out. And let's add one final one to the list. This duo in the end challenged. Can't really extract too much more out of a single move. From here it is a5 and b3. What would be helpful for white in this position? To have a more reliable defender of this strong knight. White here gearing up for c4. And then one of these two are free to do something else, more exciting. Follow up a4. White's response is to capture on a4. Now, you could also play c4 straight away. This is a winning path. Why isn't maybe c4 played here? Well, maybe we're trading too many pawns, and black is maybe a step closer to exchanging all pawns and possibly one day trying to hold some minor piece versus rook ending. That's still going to be a bit of a stretch, but I believe that's sort of the mentality at this moment here when a4 is played. Do I want more or less pawns on? That's a question that's probably running through MVL's mind here. He captures on a4, and we still work with a pair of a pawns. And only now do we see the knight secure. This arrangement pretty much negates the light square bishop. You're on this main diagonal. I didn't even realize there's no targeting g2 as long as this construction here is maintained. All right, from here we have bishop g7. There's a lot of shuffling by black. That's just how it is. MVL covering all of his bases. Squeaky clean conversion here. All right, let's improve some pieces. Queen e3, rook g8, queen h3, sniffing out any potential pressure on g2, maybe also hinting at a timely capture, and then swiping f5. Some defense of f5. Follow up king h1, healthy, out of any pin, off of this diagonal, perfect square for the king. h6, air for the black king, rook b1, the capture now on f4. I was wondering a little bit about this advance, getting a passed pawn. It's no problem to handle this passed pawn. It's going nowhere. Got that square covered. If e4 is played, this file now closed, you could immediately look to improve this piece. This is healthy. Maybe knight here, pressure here, rook d5, start to pinpoint f5 like that. Okay, we don't see e4. Instead, it is the capture, opening up a square for the bishop. Rook b to e1, bishop e5, rook captures pawn. Got a pin here. King h7, queen d3. There is a pin, possibly. g4 now becomes a thing, as committal as that is. Okay. Rook g5, rook f3, queen f7, h3, maybe even a step closer to. This might be a bit more attractive. Playing g4, there's no rook captures pawn. Follow up bishop e6. Before going with any committal idea, why not first increase the pressure as much as you can? This is a clear focus in this position, the f5 pawn. And if you are going to go for g4, you should really make sure you see it clearly. It's going to liquidate and you're not going to be more vulnerable here with your own king. All right, in this game, we have king h8, queen e2, queen g7, rook b1, rook g3, and from here, queen f2. Don't capture and allow this battery to start calculating what's happening after the queen gets to h2. Unnecessary. So you just put some pressure on g3, rook captures rook from here. And instinctually, you may think, okay, let me go ahead and take with the queen. MVL says, I'm okay taking with the pawn. I'm okay having my pawn split. There's a file now for the rook. And there's also a pawn around that can do what? Challenge black's best piece. The best piece here is the bishop on e5. A nice stable post will soon be brought into question. Very nice decision here. Follow up queen f7, f4, and from here the bishop falls back. What MVL calculated before going for f4 are the captures on d5. Let's see what that would look like if black goes in for the win of a pawn with check. In the end, there's queen g2. Now what? If black is going to avoid the queen exchange and target the rook with queen d3, that runs into a checkmate in 2. Rook b8, queen g8. So he knew that if black went for this line, he would, Caruana would have to go for a queen exchange, and if this pawn falls, this is a win for white. I must admit, initially, I was thinking rook f1 to f5. That is a win, but even better would be rook b4. Hunt the a pawn and then fly with your passed a pawn. This pawn is no problem whatsoever. That is going to be a very clean win for white. Okay. Caruana does not go down this path. Meets f4 with bishop g7. Queen takes a step up. d5, nice and secure. Queen a7. Rook e1. Pressure on the bishop. Queen comes back over. King h2. Small improvements. There's no rush. Everything under control. Black has nothing here. King h7, rook e2. Maybe in some positions this queen gets to the second rank and lands a check. White saying forget about. Any thoughts of that? Second rank covered. Follow up rook g2. Nice and compact. Everything is under control. King h7, h4. Love these next two moves. You could do one better with the rook. It's functioning like a rook here, but imagine the g6 square. Even better. If it's on g6, you might say that this knight increases in value. There's this very nice intersection square on f6. Okay, h4, king h8, h5, pivot available. Queen a7, no. Try and tame the queen. Okay, declined. Queen comes over to defend the pawn. Black tries again. Okay, MVL not interested in repeating. Forms the battery. Bishop captures knight. Pawn captures bishop. Queen d4. And from here we have a3. King g8. Pop quiz. What's your move here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, a3 was a little strange. But now we see a point. We have now a very clean win. MVL liquidating into a 1 king and pawn ending. He captures away on g7 from here. Now, I'll show you after we see the end of this game that he could have gone for this one move sooner. So while the pawn was still on a2 and still be winning. Let's see how this game finishes up. We go straight into a king and pawn ending. With how these pawns are arranged, neither king can approach them. The play from here is going to have to be on the A and B file. And that's what happens. The kings run in that direction, and white is simply there first. After move 62, king b4, Caruana resigns. Next up, king captures pawn. Move out of the way and run with your passed pawn. You make progress, eventually win this pawn. Completely winning here. Now, you could have gone for that one move sooner, this liquidation. So without a3, let me show you what this would look like. Once more, the kings running towards the queen side. So like this. And when we get to this point here, if you play a3, there's king a5, that's draw. If king b4, there's a3. King captures pawn, king c5. Black wins this pawn, but this would still be a win because the outside passed pawn is king. So it might look something like this. In the end, eventually the king has to track down the a pawn. And when it does, it is completely out of play. Clear path to victory from here. Okay, this was a very nice conversion by MVL. We ended up seeing first a3 and then nice endgame technique here. Anyhow, your thoughts with this one, feel free as usual to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.